All right, hey guys, Kid here of Burn One with the Shadowverse Evolve channel. Another episode of On Evolve. I believe we're on episode 12. As always, I'm joined with the legend himself, Dean.
The myth, the man.
Absolutely.
Actually, oh yeah,
Go ahead. No, just go ahead.
no you. No,
Okay.
no, no. Let's
I
get it.
mean, it's gonna
Let's
be
start this thing
yeah,
off.
yeah. It's probably gonna be a relatively short episode. I think. I don't know. We need to figure out like an actual like rhythm for this because I know in the beginning we were like really gung ho about like every week doing an episode. I don't know if that's sustainable with depending on
Kit,
how they what.
so much happened this weekend.
Well,
What do
this
you
weekend,
mean?
yeah. But I mean, like, I don't know, like, because I guess during the down season is when stuff is gonna get not as good, right? Because we're gonna have like 2 or 3 months of like not being able to talk about any competitive stuff.
It's true, but
I guess we'll.
we just have to make more homebrews and talk
You're
about
right.
them.
I guess we'll just cross that bridge when we get there. Well, first things first, I should say this in the beginning of the episode because I'm sure some people only watch like half the episode and just never come back. Is tomorrow and continuing hopefully every week. I don't know how this is going to work exactly. It probably there's going to be some weeks where we won't be able to do this, but starting tomorrow, which is December 6th, Wednesday, I believe I have it set up at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. We're going to be throwing up signups for our weekly for now, Shadowverse Evolve ranking battles on webcam. Basically, it's going to be a weekly tournament. You show up, whoever signs up, and then like I think we're going to do like some kind of, I believe probably top four is going to get points, and we're going to run it for like a season, which will probably be about 3 months. And then at the end of the season, the champion will be crowned, whoever has the most points. Um, there's a whole rule sheet in our Discord. You'll have to join our Discord if you're not in our Discord already. It's in the extra information below YouTube here. Join there. We have a channel for it. I'll be posting signups in there as well tomorrow, and then we'll be running it. I believe. Are we going to stream it tomorrow, Dean? I forgot. Are you free?
I can make myself available depending on the
Okay.
time.
Okay. It starts like it'll be starting like 10 p.m. your time.
We can do a game or two.
Okay, yeah. I'm pretty sure there's not going to be that many rounds. Hopefully, there's not a lot of people signing up in the first one, but hopefully it gets bigger from there. Because we already had some interest with some of the players. So we're going to do that. We'll cast some games. I think we'll do it live, right? And then maybe later, if we think a game is like really good or something, we'll come back and visit it and talk more in depth about it, maybe. And we'll just kind of do that every week as much as possible. I mean, you know, none of us do this as a full-time job, so we can't necessarily cut out time every week specifically for this, since we're just doing this for fun and for the community. So we'll probably start off strong, but it'll probably, I think probably after the New Year's is when stuff will kind of get rocky because I'm moving pretty soon, which is going to be a big move. Moving to the Vegas community, and I know during that month, like probably towards the end of January, is when things are going to be a little bit more hard for me to like actually show up and do it. It depends if we have some other people to run the event for us on those weeks we're absent. But we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, you guys join us and have a lot of fun. And then if you want to get your match videos out there and have bragging rights, this is a fun. It'll be a fun tournament to join.
Yeah, I
Other
know
than
moving is always rough.
Yeah, it's been hell these last couple of years, but I think I'm finally going to be able to settle in Vegas, which will be nice. Um, Besides that, though, I guess we'll get into what actually we have going on. So we have this week. Oh, actually, you know what? Really quick, Dean, what about you? What have you been up to lately before we get into things? Let's catch up.
I over the last week went and actually judged my first Weiss event in 4 years. Finally hung up the old player gloves and decided to judge. So I went down to Georgia. Also got to cheer on a homie who did the Shadowverse Evolve tournament. Had a lot of actual fans of the channel. I didn't tell you that part. Had
Oh
about
yeah, you
10
didn't.
plus people. 10 plus people. Is like when I was deck checking a guy in top 8 for Vanguard on Saturday. He's like, "Hey, I watch your channel." Well, it's pretty cool.
No,
Um,
yeah. You experienced kind of what I experienced in SoCal for a bit.
no,
Where-
actually, what was unbelievable is one guy asked me to sign his mat. Now I was in the middle of staffing, so I was also like not ready for it. Yeah, right. We're just like out here. We're a small channel, but yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I super appreciate. I'm sure Dean, you too. I appreciate anyone that even like talks to us. Honestly, we just did this. We did content for Wise for fun as well, and we both kind of somewhat stepping away from Wise. Dean mostly is gone from Wise. I feel like, right?
I
Um,
I mean I still sometimes pick up cards, but not
yeah,
I can't bring myself to play. I don't have a community left to play with, so
yeah, understandable. I'm basically almost out of Wise completely. I just kind of show up to bigger events that matter because Wise is definitely a game where like you don't have to spend a lot of time grinding to be good.
you do, but once you've grinded it,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can like
yeah.
jump into
That
formats.
yeah. Like
We've
the
done
way
the
the game.
learning.
Yeah, we've done the the foundation of the gameplay of Weiss and like all the big major skills that are required outside of learning like specific hyper specific weird decks. I guess, and in Weiss, there's not actually a lot of decks that are very generally weird. They're a lot straightforward. So I still have one foot in the Weiss community. I just don't do content as much, basically at all for Weiss right now. I was thinking of coming back to do some like more Weiss history stuff and things like that because I've been in the community so long instead of actually doing like competitive content. But not gonna lie, every time I look at like the other day, I was thinking about it and I was looking at all the top Weiss channels right now, and it's so depressing. I think Weiss is like the worst community when it comes to like supporting content creators, unironically, because like I'll see people like there's channels that when we were very active, they were like a fraction of our size, and now they're bigger than our old Weiss channel, right? But then I look at their video views on all their stuff, and all of it is like worse than like I guess yeah, worse than even this channel by a lot. Like
Just like
unironically,
low engagement, right?
it's
Yeah.
like zero engagement. It sucks because like it's not like I personally don't. It's not that I don't like Weiss. It's just that like when you make content, right, you want to have like some kind of feedback, like some people like it or whatever, right? And then you don't want to like spend like a few hours a day working on a video and then release it. And then like, cool, I spent 4 hours setting this up, writing down what I want to like organize my thoughts a little bit, right? And then put that video out there. And then like after a week, it's like has like 150 views. You're like, that's really cool that it still got like that many views, but like that's like almost like an average video in the Weiss community almost. I think there's like
Yeah.
some exceptions. I think Trest Collectibles is like one of the channels that gets relatively high view counts. I think on most of their stuff, but even some of their high view count stuff is like really depressing sometimes. Like
I
how
was
low it is.
discussing this. Actually, the one who won the Weiss tournament on Sunday
Mhm.
was a content creator. It goes by Refresh Point. You might have heard of them.
Yeah.
Which okay, here's what's insane. You heard of them?
Oh, the only reason I know about them is
They have 78 subs. I went and looked. They've been
yeah,
around for 9 months. They get 300, 200. They do a podcast much like this, but
yeah.
they're actually doing it weekly. God bless. Uh
Mhm.
yeah, they had 78 subs because everyone's like, "Oh, it's the Refresh Point." I'm like, half the people in the tournament know about them, and then I go, "Oh, I'm gonna see like some 2,000 sub channel." No, 78. I was like,
Yeah, the only reason I know about them originally is because one, I knew them before they started doing content creation. But what happened was I used to run a podcast. If you remember, I don't know if you were on it, Dean, at the time,
"No,
but it was
not
also
no."
called Refresh Point, and it was
Oh,
me, Connor Pelham, who is in the Shadowverse Fall community. He goes by Boats
yep,
Don't Sink. For those that know him, me and him actually ran like he was my co-host on a podcast we did called Refresh Point, which is the same exact name as the new Refresh Point people had. I kind of gave when I saw them post about their podcast, I was like, "Oh, I actually had this same exact podcast name like a year or two ago." But I was like, "You can have my blessing. Just take the name, do whatever you guys want, right?" That's how I found out about them because their very first podcast I did listen to, and because I was like, "What the heck? Someone's using the Refresh Point name or again." But yeah, I'm actually surprised. Like, I didn't follow them continuously, especially towards the end of me not caring about Weiss as much anymore. But I'm surprised they don't have as many followers. I know they post their. I don't know if you checked anywhere else, but I know they post their podcasts on like other platforms that are like more podcast friendly. I think like maybe Apple Play or
mm,
some stuff like that, whatever it's called. So I don't know if they get higher view counts there. and like more like followers there. But
They might.
yeah,
I know that because I told them, I'm like, I don't normally listen to content for games I play, and that's just gonna be an honest thing. If I get deep into a game, I'll like sometimes check out the other content creators, but I myself don't consume a ton of content for a game that I myself am playing a bunch. Um, but I did listen to their stuff, and they are pretty good players. So like definitely was I think there's people are sleeping on them. So
yeah, if you guys play Weiss or just want to hear Weiss content in general, check them out. There is Refresh Point podcast, I believe. Um, but yeah, it's really depressing because like people who put their effort in, like it sucks because you like I said earlier, as a creator, you hope that like some people see your stuff, and it's kind of depressing when you see like other things just like take off like without even trying. I guess I don't want to say not trying because obviously people put in the work. But compared to every other TCG I've ever played, this is Weiss was like the worst engagement possible in the community. But I gotta say though, like one thing you're saying, like half the people knew Refresh Point at the event. One thing though is the competitive community, like the top level players, they're actually pretty tight knit when it comes to Weiss because everyone knows each other so much because we see each other so often.
and and there's a huge difference too. So like the difference, I think this was the huge thing, right? Like when I was judging Weiss, and when I was sitting down and deck checking people went, "Oh, do I know you?" Because we never really did this face thing, right? That we're doing
Yeah.
right now when we did Weiss content. So when I interact with somebody in the Weiss community that may have used us to like help get like off the ground, they'll go, I think I've heard of, do I know you? Right. But they've never seen us. Right. I think that's
Mhm.
what was like the difference was like when I'm like going and I'm doing like the Vanguard judging and like there's Vanguard players that play this on the side. They listen to our podcast. They watch our reviews and they see us. Right. And then they see us in person and we have a little bit more of like a presence now. And I think that's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, for sure. Getting that
So
feedback feels like insane. Like it pumps me up every time to like actually work harder and do things.
help see the community grow. Right. I'm really
Yeah.
excited for Texas, Mexico. Mexico is that this week?
Is
Next
it
week?
this week? I don't even know. I think oh no, it's not this coming weekend. It's the weekend after, I believe. Because I'm pretty sure it's the
Okay.
wait. Is it this weekend actually? Okay, I'm gonna look it up right now.
Mexico's coming fast, and I'm really excited for that. We're gonna
Uh,
finally get some
I
big tournaments.
I really want to go to the Mexico one, but like the pain of actually traveling to Mexico is just
It's
like
far. It's much further than you would think.
it's because it's like really deep into Mexico. It's like even from LA, where I'm based out of, it's almost a 4 hour flight, and then
It's
it
like
does
8 hours from here. It's like ridiculous.
yeah, and how do I say this? And then the general cost to get there, even from LA, which is like relatively close and should have lots of flights directly to Mexico City, it's still like even when I checked as soon as they announced it, the price of tickets are still really expensive compared to like when I travel within the states for like Shadowverse Evolve or Weiss or any other like event I want to go to. Like I can usually find a plane ticket like almost round trip, even across the country, for under $200. Like as long as you're like proactively looking for a ticket and looking for the best price, you can find tickets round trip throughout the U.S. If you live in the U.S. like super cheap, and then you meet up with like 4 to 10 of your other friends and split rooms at hotels or get a big Airbnb. So like trips in America are fairly cheap. But if I was like traveling to Mexico for this and like maybe I have one other person like Sam, if you guys watched the Uma Musume review, Sam was on there. Sam and I were discussing very heavily about going to Mexico. Um, but it just didn't pan out for either of us because he lives in Canada. So coming from Canada, he's spending over $1,000, and that's already painful. And you're not even guaranteed to win, right? Even if you feel like you're the best player in the world, you're
That
still.
top 8, it's been crushing us. It
Yeah,
crushed Sam, it crushed me, and it crushed my local Swafford this weekend.
yeah.
He was 4-1 in Swiss on top of the world with the sickest deck.
Dude, yeah,
The
okay.
sickest deck.
When I went, okay, so I woke up later in the day on the event, right? And I went into chat immediately, and I saw you saying he was what 4-1, and then you said he's
4-1
on Abyss Control, and I was like, oh shit, that's spicy.
Well, here's the thing: is like I brought it to locals,
Mhm.
undefeated, then in testing, I was like some ridiculous number with this deck. I'm talking like I was like probably like 13 and like 1 or 2, like right? Like it was like very rarely dropping games with this deck. And I'm like, this deck is sick. And we were testing, and Sword sucked. Like, right, Sword has breakpoints, and it's really
Yeah.
hard to put answers into decks that don't just like hinder your game plan.
Mhm.
Dragons, it's like it's got just like it's got consistency problems on Disco, and it has like this just terrible like bottleneck on the curve at 5 in ramp, because like ramp is very it's very bricky. It's very bricky, and like once you get past like a certain turn, the deck stops being bricky. But until then, you're on like death's door. You can't have that in a tournament, especially in a best of one tournament.
Yeah.
But like we're like, bro, this Abyss deck is like kind of good enough. It sucks versus Haven, specifically Control. But he fought Alana. He fought Alana and he smoked it. He fought
Makes
Alana and
sense. Makes
smoked it.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
like the hand ripping from Abyss is actually insane. If you like, especially if you're
what
able
hand
to
rip?
hit. Hmm?
He only plays like 2 hand rip cards. He plays Azazel. He doesn't. There's no crazy executioner.
Oh shoot! Yeah, sorry. I've been looking at other lists so much this weekend about Abyss because I was looking into Uma meta.
You can pull up the
Never
list if
mind.
you
Yeah,
want.
yeah. Yeah.
We
I don't
can
have.
share the list.
I don't
Okay,
have
yeah,
it
that's
here.
fine.
You should do a video with him or something for the channel. I mean, like
Well, I
it's
didn't
kind
want
of
to do a
being.
set. We discussed it, and it's like a
Mhm.
set 2 meta like deck profile, like right the same week as Uma comes out. Yeah,
Yeah,
screw
it's
that.
not. Yeah,
Not gonna
understandable.
come out. But it was basically it was Azazel, like a bunch of control cards, 2
Mhm.
Azazels in the Evo deck. That's really funny. Because the reason I did that is originally you're on 1 and you would Evo the Azazel like just as an aggro card, and then
Yeah,
your opponent would heal. And
and
now
then you
it's
do it again.
yeah, but now it's like, yeah, I can do it again. I just go, oh,
Uh,
cool, you healed, and then like maybe they get lax. They're at 15 health. He can't kill me. They tap out 1 turn. You go, oh, by the way, you done fucked up.
yeah,
So
understandable.
yeah, so he may have lost in top 8. That's unfortunate, but ultimately, the list did work. 4-1 in Swiss. That's a pretty good record. Pretty much all you can hope for. But like you said, even if you think you're the best player in the room, you think you got the best deck in the room, dude, that top 8. Even if you think you can get to like the top 8, you may not get that invite.
Yeah, it's the rough. It's like, I mean, it's the same in every game. Well, I don't want to say every game. It's more like just Bushiro games because unlike other card games, when it comes to price support, like getting top 8, you're gonna get some stuff that you're gonna be like, yes, thank God. Like obviously playmats are like sick and stuff. Just the flex and things like that. But when it comes to other card games, you hit top 8, you're like getting actual like really usually
Yu-Gi-Oh
good
moment.
surprise support. Wait, how does Yu-Gi-Oh pay out again? Because I know they can't pay money; they give consoles and stuff, right? But what is like the top 8 payout in Yu-Gi-Oh? Do you know?
Top cut price. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, but I feel like other games, like a lot of other games I played, like I could like top 8 and like come back feeling like even though I didn't win the event, I came back. I like feel like I won a lot and like did very well. Whereas like a lot of Boucher games, it feels like you compete, you travel to these events, you spend money to get nothing in return almost. All right,
Top
you got it.
16, 24 packs of a set and a mat. 4th through 8th, Nintendo Switch. Okay, I guess once you get a Switch, you probably can't be 2. With
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist and Rush Duels. Okay, you get 2 Yu-Gi-Oh! Games. This was like 2 years ago, so this was a year ago. But yeah, basically sounds like you get a Switch in some games if you top 8.
Yeah, I mean, even top 16 at a Yu-Gi-Oh event is
They
like
pay
you get.
money. They pay
Yeah.
money. They pay $20. We pay literally 0.
Well, yeah. Oh, well, I remember we talked a lot before in the competitive community for at least Weiss. I think Shadowverse Evolved's community is way more hyper focused on being a competitive scene, right? That's what I
Bro,
feel like.
you come to the Shadowverse Evolve community with like anything that's like even close to off meta, and they're like, put the meta cards in. It's like, well, guys. Sometimes we're just cooking.
There's like definitely the community. I think the community has a lot more spikes event basically in the community because like people were arguing and fighting early on, like even us technically. Like we wanted more out of the competitive scene for Shadowverse Evolve, and hopefully this next season it's gonna pan out that way. I'm like 100% positive it is, but I can't say anything for sure, or I can't confirm anything for sure. But at least the Shadowverse Evolve community looks like they want to be very hyper competitive because they're coming from other competitive games that have actual prizing at the top end, right? Whereas Bushiroad games are just like, here's your handshake, you did a good job, dude. Oh, actually, this year they have trophies. I like that every time I decide to stop playing Weiss hyper competitive, they always they bring back the trophies. I'm like, you
Bro,
but anyway.
you think the trophies? Okay, no. The sickest thing they ever did were those team medals that make one big medal, but
Dude, yeah, I'm like 20 of those. Yeah.
we got 3 of them. I know we earned 3 each,
Yeah.
so like we have one full medal for ourselves, but it's like mismatched colors.
Yeah, dude, I have like a box full of those. Like I used to display them. Like Dean's seen them when I lived in Illinois. I displayed them in the house and stuff. I like having trophies like that I could display. Right? Not
I had mine at work.
Sick.
People are like, "What's that?" Like, yeah, I don't know. I travel around.
You're like, I was born with the card game autism, so like this is my trophy for having
Pretty
the best card game autism in the room. but yeah, damn. But yeah, I hope to see like pricing change drastically moving forward, because I feel at some point there will be a breaking point where Shadowverse Evolve starts growing at a very high pace, and hopefully, I don't think we're ever going to really match Japan, because Japan's insane when it comes to this game, because like they're hitting like, what was that one, not the most recent one, but the one before it, like didn't they hit almost 3,000, or did they hit 3,000 players?
I thought it was like 2,000, like 100 area.
Oh yeah, maybe it's over 2,000. Yeah,
which is still good. It's like
that's insane.
It's a newer game, but like
I think, what other events in even in America for card games do they hit that high? Like I know some Magic events hit pretty high, and Yu-Gi-Oh! I know that, but does Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever hit over the 2,000 range?
Oh yes, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay, that's insane. Good. I know Pokemon's has a usually pretty big pool, don't they? But they limit a lot of like
Pokemon, even with the doubling the price, more than doubling. Holy shit! Like this year is insane for Pokemon. I think they're only hitting like 1,500, and
that's still really good. Like I mean, obviously
it's really high, right? It is really high. But have you seen how much money you can make? Like holy, like they pay a lot of money. So you know.
Oh yeah, you could actually kind of build I don't want to say completely build a career off of Pokemon or those other card games, but you basically can, right?
I think when they adjusted for the increase in pricing, pro like the number one player. So this is not, we ain't that. Yeah. We're not that. Even we're not that.
Yeah.
But the number one player, right, is out there, and he would have earned like close to 100K in 1 year.
Yeah.
So that's pretty insane.
Yeah. Hopefully, because like I said, I think Shadowverse evolves in that incubation period where we're just right around the corner, where if we hit the right things at the right timing, we're gonna like kind of explode as a community once we have open events.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think the pricing is. I think that's like a nice thing to have, but I don't think that's what like. Your game doesn't live off of the pricing. Yeah. It can help, and there's gonna be some people that come to it for that. But look at Yu-Gi-Oh! 2,000 plus man YCSs, and their pricing is a Nintendo Switch.
So, I mean, isn't that more of a Bandai thing than anything? Is it? Wait, no, Bandai doesn't own it. Sorry, Konami thing?
Konami.
Yeah.
It is, but that's still proof that like the price support is not what makes the game.
Oh, for sure. But personally, I think like it's a combination of a lot of different things. I think prize support is one thing. It's maybe prize support is like the weakest aspect, but like obviously I'd like to see some expansion out there for more of the top players. But
I mean, I would like that too. I would like some kind of prize support. Maybe top 8. Make it worth top 8ing a little bit.
Yeah, and then I think the other big thing. I mean, I always feel like I harp about this all the time, and I hate talking about it so much, but it comes back down to like streaming the events, like getting more information out there, working more with content creators, and like doing the actual leg work as a company. Because I think the community so far overall has been doing a pretty decent job. Like we have other content creators like pulling their weight and like slowly growing, and so we have the community out there pushing, working hard, getting people into the game, and then the company itself is not doing the best leg work when it comes to promoting the game even more beyond that. Because like I said before, I don't want to like talk about this too much again, But like streaming events, like you can take that money out of your marketing budget and set some of it aside to stream at events. And it's not very expensive to do a very simple setup at events, actually. Obviously, if you want to do some high quality production like we see in the Japanese Shadowverse Evolve community, for
Oh, they're
their
insane.
GPs are like, yeah, they have like cameras that like zoom in, you can look at their hand and stuff, and like it's pretty wild how they work their stuff. They definitely have a full fledged team there, but you can get like a 2-man team to like do an entire stream setup, and like it does, you don't necessarily in the beginning have to even have it commentary on the stream, because people will just come and like still watch and talk about the game in chat, right? Because I think that happened for Australia. Like a lot of the people watched the live stream of that, and there wasn't really any commentary at all for those games, if I remember correctly. But I might have muted the stream because we're talking a bunch of Discord at the time. But yeah, it feels like that's one of like the biggest weak points for the community is the actual company itself putting in the legwork there to get more people into the game, like through the competitive scene, stuff like that.
That's
'Cause
what
I
we're
think,
here for.
yeah, I think because I think at the end of the day, like um, having like a very like thriving competitive scene, also like all the other smaller kitchen table scenes. If I, people who just play the game for fun because they're like, wow, that was like, I just tried this game, then I watched some of the regional events. It's like really crazy, and then so like they go and do like the crazy stuff at home or at their locals and stuff like that, but they don't necessarily travel a lot, because we don't have the not opportunity, but like the benefit of being an IP that's like an anime. Well, I guess there is an anime, but I mean like nothing like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, like stuff like that where people grew up with and like get attached to it. So later in life they're still attached to it, and then they get attached to it through their community like longer. If that makes
That's
sense?
true. What's insane is, oh my god, at Georgia, some guy was like, "Yo, I heard about Shadowverse. I love Levitain Dragon from the anime, and I cannot wait to join. I'm not touching the card game till Set 3 comes out. I kid you not. So there are some people out there that like that. I
Well,
was like, well, that's
that's
a
that's
little.
good
That's a
to hear.
little.
That's good to hear.
I was like,
dude,
oh, okay.
dude, still my favorite anime moment was the very first anime they did, and the guy did.
That one's rough.
Dude, my favorite episode still is when these guys like, I beat the world champion. He's like, oh man, if he had Razor Claw in hand, and then he had like a mental breakdown that the guy let him win.
The guy was just BMing me, extended BM, but then he lost.
That was pretty funny. But yeah, I hope to see the community grow a lot more. Okay, we got sidetracked super hard off of that, and I didn't
We
want
did
to.
get super
Yeah.
sidetracked
All
super
right.
hard.
Should we just talk about the regionals this weekend?
The regionals, we had 3 regionals since I last did my thing. You want to just quickly go over them?
Yeah. Let's see here.
Start with Singapore.
Singapore. Okay, we're moving to this screen. You guys can't see us anymore. We're invisible ghosts. Singapore. Here we go.
Should be the first one.
Yep.
Okay, so look at this. This is Control A just taking out Singapore. Does anyone know how big this one was?
This one was actually a semi-big one, right? God, I wish they put the numbers here.
I know the Australia one coming up was 8-man.
Yeah.
That was an 8-man.
Yeah.
This is, what is this? Just Seraph. This is just normal Control Haven with the Seraph. Are we sure this one was that big? I can't see this thing like making.
I think this event was like 30 some people, or was it? I don't know. I think Singapore meta too is a little bit different in general, like what people like to play and things like that. So, but yeah, this list is like incredibly standard.
Yeah, there's nothing too spicy here. You know, we got I don't know what we have. The Path to Purgatory is like the spicy thing.
Yeah, it's like a random one of not playing Kaguya.
It's not a random one of. You can search it with the Prison Priestess.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I feel like nowadays when you look at Haven Craft list, if they play PTP, they're playing Kaguya also. Whereas this list didn't even play Kaguya, right? But otherwise, like, this list is almost completely standard. Like, Triple Dark Offering is like not always here, but I guess if you're playing PTP, you can get that away. You can just like pop other things in matchups where hair doesn't matter. You can pop that away to draw things like that. Everything else looks pretty pretty much, the usual suspects, I would say. I think the only big difference here is that this guy is playing triple cudgel, which I don't think a lot of people are willing to
Insane.
play triple cudgel in their Evo list.
Yeah, I'd probably play triple prism over that, but I guess it depends on how much you value the banish. Because
Oh yeah, for sure.
one of those cards has to be dead, and it's which one do you value? I would always value the search
Mhm.
over like a mid game tempo banish. That's very situational, right? It's not like
Yeah, and this might just be a card too that they set up or they prefer to play in multiple of because they know there's going to be lots of sword and cudgel into sword matchups are pretty solid. Like remove 2-for-1 removal,
fair enough.
especially if
And
you
then also,
go ahead.
well, with the dark offering, it's you
Mhm.
deny the Leonidas crash, and then you have
Yeah.
the cudgel after, so that can be
Mhm.
pretty big.
Are we going to go through all the lists for Singapore? I guess right.
At least top three. I'm sorry,
Okay.
fourth.
Sorry, fourth. Yes. All right, we got sword here. This doesn't look
Standard,
like
kind of.
sorta. I think playing triple ninja here is interesting because usually I only see stuff like that if you're playing the Pompous Princess package. They're playing like Princesses to Search Out too, but they're not playing any
Is
maid
that triple
gunner maiden.
Otohime? Wait, holy
Yeah, this is a weird meta place. I think okay. I hopefully by now most people realize like Otohime is actually like not a very great card in set two meta, but it being a one of is like completely fine. But this is a triple seems insane to me. But I guess like they opted to play 0 searches for a princess, so they don't play the gun maid gunner to be able to search out like these cards. So I guess that's why they're playing this as a 3 of, which is weird.
They had to have the 3 veteran lancers. That deck is actually wild.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Oh
sleeve
wait,
that one.
I just saw this 3 veteran lances. Holy
And
crap!
3 Latham, dude. This is the list of my nightmares. This is actually the
True.
list of my nightmares.
True. I prefer like I maybe if they came to the same thought. Presh and I talked a lot about sword because this was also like a deck I was considering. We talked a lot about the 2-drop range if we're not playing like Prison Priestess and not Prison Priestess,
Gunner
Maid
Maid?
Gunner. Yeah, if we're not playing like that package of stuff. Playing higher drop counts of 2 seems very important to like curve out better every game because like obviously games where you get to go 1, 2, 3 are like the best sword games ever. So like playing higher counts of 2 drops is probably like really important for like not playing like all the search package stuff. But I don't. What Veteran Lancers at 3 of is like I don't know if that's it, Chief. Maybe they're very afraid of aggro abyss and stuff like that.
Oh, I will say the one thing I do like is I've heard I heard one guy, the X Lust, I heard him
Yeah.
say Avant. Is it AVANT? I thought it was Advent, like Advent calendar. but Avant Blader, yeah, 2
Yeah.
of it. I think that's right. I think that anytime you play less than 2, you're wrong. I mean, you play 1 Evo, but you play 2.
I feel like playing it as a 1 of is completely fine. I almost
I
don't
hate
even
wasting
like
it. I hate
what.
wasting a shirt. I think that's the most powerful 5, like turn 5 play in the deck.
Um,
It's like not even
okay, it might
close.
be different because I play Olivia, and I think Olivia is the best turn 5 play in the deck. Um, but I digress. Like I think 2-1 split is perfectly reasonable. Like I wouldn't question it at all. But yeah, I mean, outside of the other stuff we talked about, I mean, everything else is like super standard. Um, yeah, they must. My assumption here too with Tsubaki also is that they must play a lot of dragon in their meta, or they're afraid of dragon because Bahamut Evo, or I guess Bahamut's John. I mean, this is how you out Bahamut as sword. Usually, is Tsubaki is like the best way to do it because you got to remove their 11/11 and develop board and so forth while removing it. There was like a high consideration when I was building sword of putting in one Tsubaki for that. But yeah,
I mean, one's not
uh,
that many deck slots, right? So
yeah. All right, and third place, Havencraft again.
this is the Texas.
Is it? I
This
didn't look
is
at the exact list.
this is the
Did it have
Texas
death
second
sentence?
place. No, that is the only change though.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. There's 2 changes. -1 Aegis Evo. I know that much. +1 Kaguya. That is 100% correct because holy, you do not need 2 Aegis Evos. Number 2 is it's 2 Aegis, 1 death sentence. I think that's probably correct. The more I played, the more I wanted another 3-man amulet because sometimes you just don't have the amulet to go with the Kaguya. You put down the Beast Call Aria early because you didn't really have a 3-drop. Suddenly, Kaguya comes up on turn 7. You never saw another amulet. Death Sentence is a nice card to pair with it. And then going down to 2 Aegis Evo, 3 is horrendous. Like you just discard 2 of them with the Aegis when you Evo it. And then you waste your Evo slot, and then you only have the 1 John. So definitely do like the changes. Also, I think the other deck didn't play. I don't know if it played the Surefire Bullet.
I'm not sure too because I didn't look at their exact list. I'm pretty sure they must have played Surefire because they probably didn't play Angelic Snipes or something like that, right? Well, I think Surefire is just so good. It's like so many like turn 3 Evo plays. It's just like
my bag isn't
disgusting.
Close, but I have this deck literally sleeved in my bag. So
yeah, I've been playing not the Texas list. I've been playing my own version with Kaguya and stuff like that. But I do agree. Like I'm very greedy in that list, and I only have 4 3-drop amulets to drop with Kaguya, and some games some games you're right where it's like you hit turn 3 and you're like, well, I just might as well develop Arya, right? And then you get the Kaguya later, and you're like, I have nothing to develop Kaguya with, so it takes like a turn to like set up Kaguya again, which has been kind of awkward. But I've been winning most of my games with the list, but the list doesn't matter anymore because it's going to change literally this weekend. But I think if you're playing this, I think this is a thing you should consider too. Is like having more 3-drop amulets is like more worthwhile than anything. I think. I was even considering bumping up PTP to 3, like unironically. Like first, I was going to do Arya to 3 if I was going to still play this list. It was like bump Arya up to 3 because I had 2 Arya, 2 PTP, and that felt just good enough that like I didn't feel horrible.
It did not have Surefire. I know
it didn't have Sure. Oh, okay.
It was the 1 mana thing that summons a bird for 1 on crack, and the hair of illusions. Those were the cuts.
Yeah, I think hair is like pretty unneeded if you know you're not playing into a lot of Haven because it's mostly there for the mirror match, and like they must have not considered the mirror match too much either because I think one of the matches where I do find I'm gonna Evo Aegis twice is actually the mirror match. But outside of that, yeah. But yeah, this is like a pretty like I like this list a lot and stuff like that. The Crow Priestess combos are like really cute and everything too. Very solid list, worth trying if you want to spend less few days trying Havencraft.
We're gonna see this. We're gonna see this a couple more times. So
yeah. All right.
People really like it. One more, right?
No, this was third, and then here's the Evo deck. If I didn't show it all. Next, fourth. Melbourne.
This was the 8-man.
This is an 8-man regional. Our boy Matt or whatever made top 8 and then lost immediately. Dude.
They told him to take pictures first, though. That's funny.
Yeah. I gotta say one thing, though. I don't know how you agree, or I mean, how you think about it. I think everyone at this event in Melbourne kind of got screwed over. No. Okay, so you don't think so. I personally think even though there was only 8 people who signed up, so they immediately cut to the top 8, best of 1. I think they should have at least ran a couple rounds to so they could pair seed top 8 correctly.
No, because okay. So the 6-man cut to top 4.
Well, okay,
because that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, there was a 7-man.
There's a 7-man.
They did Swiss because first seed would get a bye, right? That's the reasoning.
That is pretty valid, right?
Yes, but also I think that's really disgusting that like a 6-7-man tournament had a 3-round Swiss, but an 8-man tournament doesn't get a 3-round Swiss. And it's everyone who signed up at this event like that day. It's not like they were doing anything else anyway.
I agree. I think that regardless, it's disgusting. I think that all of this points to maybe we shouldn't have had these shitty qualifiers. That's everything just points to that.
Yeah.
Like when we have an 8-man, a 7, when we have these 6-mans, these disgustingly low player counts. But I think when you're like thinking about how to handle it, 6-man cut to top 4, that makes sense. There's no buy that gets in the way, and I guess it's kind of like what you do, right? With 6-man or 7-man, you have this like random buy, like taking stuff up. It's like what in a 7-man, you could probably go like loss, buy, win first, like right. You can get some insane things like what I've done at your place.
Mhm.
Uh, and I just really don't like that. So it's like, what do you do? The 3 rounds of Swiss. I mean, I think regardless of what you do, it's going to be a scuff tournament.
Oh yeah, for sure. Player counts like this is always really bad
Oh,
to see.
and yeah, it's 8-man. What the hell is a Swiss gonna do, right? Like, what the hell is a Swiss? How do you make it? Like, if you do Swiss into top 4, you fuck over some people because of course you do, because X1s do X1s even make it? How many rounds do you have to play to then get a top 4 cut that where an X1 doesn't get fucked?
Oh, I'm not
It's
even talking about cutting. They have to cut the top 8 with how like the tournament rules are set up.
and that's
But I think
they cut the top 4 once.
dude, personally, okay, listen, it's the first year. I'm gonna give him some slack, but personally, I think seeding matters in top 8, right? That's what I think personally. So personally, to me, I would be kind of like annoyed that they cut to top 8 immediately. But it is what it is. I think we should just kind of drop it at that point, unless you have anything else
It's
to
all
add in.
kinds of whack. It's all
Yeah.
kinds of whack.
All right. So first place here was Discard Dragon.
One
Pretty
con flag.
Okay, yeah. Dude, when you're in an 8-man, best of 1 tournament, baby, 1 conflict is all you need.
One path to purgatory.
This entire list is, personally, I think it's bad. That's my opinion of it. Obviously, they won the event, and I didn't win an event, so obviously they're better than me, clearly. But this is like the type of list. Yeah, this is like the type of list I look at and go, "But wow, this is cool." It just loses the sword every time it runs in his sword. That's what it feels like.
It doesn't lose every time. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe 66% more of the time than somebody playing 3 con flag, but
Yeah. Like,
I mean, it's still got some of the removal.
yeah, yeah. You end up having to spend a lot of your like free pings you normally get on like removing stuff, like if you have rights generated and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, Breath is still good, Seraph is still good. It's just when you play against matchups that can go wide very easily, like 1 Conflag, 1 Fafnir, like these are your board removals. I think you've like, or I guess technically Bahamut also. I'm like, you've probably lost the game. Like, if someone go, if like a sword goes second,
I like
and
how
then
it's
Evo,
like
go ahead.
there's such a gap between Conflag and even Fafnir, and then like looking at Bahamut after, it's like you draw this Bahamut and you go, oh no, like you're probably dead before you get to put it on the board. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, I think this list, I think just loses to sword a lot of the time. But outside of that, I mean, like it does the normal things that Discard Dragon wants to do. Just you get your storm in, you get your free pings in, and you're good to go. Basically, you get a loop Shenlong all day, right?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you can see those things, just like the things that you want against your already worst matchup,
Mm-hmm.
not running those high enough counts, like you said, that's where the real trouble comes in.
Yeah. Here's our Evo deck. Looks pretty standard for the Evo deck. Yeah. Anything you want to comment on the Evo deck? It is.
Not really.
Yeah.
That is the deck. That is
Yep.
the Evo deck.
All right, second place here, Sword. Speaking of doesn't have the answer, I guess he drew the answer against Sword. Oh, this guy's playing Pompous Princess too. Sick. Let's go. All right.
Playing 1.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to switch
That's
it out to
not.
3 gunner mates. You're like quote unquote playing 4, but not really. Their 1 count too is incredibly low for Pompous Princess. What is? I don't like. 1 swordsman also. Wow, that's insane.
You just have it, bro. You just
You're
have
right.
it.
Just have it.
3 Aurelia, dude. Aurelia. Do you know that when I play 2 of that, and when people know that you have that in your deck, it's like really easy to play around, and then it's not a good card.
Yeah, this as a 3-up is questionable. I mean, like it's really good in the dragon matchup.
It's in the Disco Dragon matchup, which
Yeah.
it clearly wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
I do like I said, double Avant.
Yeah, Avant Blader. Oh, 2 Evos though for the Evos. I guess if they just want to have infinite hand, this is what they're doing.
Wait, that's insane. I didn't see this part.
Yeah.
Wait.
2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Oh, no Quick Blader Evo? Wait, is there
No
Quick Blader in the deck?
Yeah, there's Quick Blader. I'm always
Wouldn't be me.
going back and forth with Quick Blade or Evo. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't, and I just
Oh,
swap it
I'm
out
also
for other
playing
things.
Bellringer Evo. That's also why. Okay.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I don't know personally. My opinion is the amount of one drops you have doesn't facilitate you playing Pompous Princess at
There's
all.
one pompous princess.
Yeah, but I mean, like, why even
One.
play? Why even play it then? You're like,
Why even play it? You are correct. Why?
this literally could have been anything. This could have been an Unbridled Fury. This could have been like a second Luminous Knight. This could have been a one of Latham.
No, don't you dare. Like
Well, okay, listen. With the number of
whenever you
one
need to
drops,
top deck something good, Latham will come to you.
whenever this is just like a worth Latham if you think about it. You're paying one more to whiff because the one count to me is
No,
atrocious in this.
Pompous would never let me down. She
Okay,
would pull that swordsman.
I understand. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this list. I think they like have their like fingers in too many different like pies, basically. Like random one of three of this. It doesn't feel right, or it doesn't even look like it flows very well. But I mean, sword is sword, so it's always going to search what it needs when it needs it for the most part.
It's never going to be that bad, but at the
Yeah,
same time, it's like if you played like 50 games with this, you'd probably be unhappy like 5 more than you should be.
yeah.
Is like kind of what we're saying.
Yep. All right, third place here, Havencraft. I think this is
Literally,
what he
yeah, this
lost
is the
to, right?
exact same.
Yeah.
No, wait, no. This is different. This is different than the Texas one.
Oh no, but I mean, isn't this what our buddy Matt lost to?
Is it?
Isn't this his friend? I think so. I don't know, maybe not, because I think round one he was annoyed that he
I
lost.
think that the next
Hmm?
deck is also this exact same deck almost.
Oh, maybe they got fourth. I'm not sure. I could be completely wrong too. Maybe they just lost his sword or something.
This is once again the Texas second place list because
No,
I'm
it's
gonna
not.
always call
Wait,
it that because
did
wait,
it have Reina in it?
no, but
Yeah,
like 1 or 2 card changes, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
the
yeah.
thing is though that Texas list came out and we're seeing very small modifications to it, but we're seeing basically the same core. Basically, he cut the bird amulet,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we got Arena in here to be able to recycle the Evos. Is he still on one Jean?
He's on one John. Yeah. I mean that's
Holy.
what you do. Okay. So personally, I've been playing so much Haven in this meta. Like one Jean feels like more than enough when your game plan is to Aegis at the end.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. But also, like this guy's probably trying to abuse Reyna as well a little bit.
Yeah.
One thing here too is
The
they're
one of
playing three Aegis though instead of
yeah.
playing two. Isn't it? Don't you usually
No,
advocate two? I personally
I
think you should
do.
always.
I
I think
after
you should.
playing the
Mhm.
Texas list, okay, well, there's 2 schools of philosophy because I'll never forget one of the when Dean was younger and new to card games, he played some disgusting deep draw Yu-Gi-Oh OTK deck, and I said I draw deep, so I don't need 3 copies of my win condition. I put 2 copies in, and I drew down 30 cards, and I didn't see it. And somebody said you never cut your win condition ever. Doesn't matter if it seems like it's too much. So right now, I say 2 Aegis because that's what feels right. Because sometimes I have 3 in my hand, but also sometimes you only have 1 in your hand. And what if you cut it?
Yeah, I'm a very big advocate of like in my list I play three of. I think drawing this and like anytime you're able to develop an Aegis on 8 and look at your opponent and go like, yeah, I passed turn, good luck. Like those turns feel super good.
I've noticed because like the when you're playing against Sword, I feel like you have to have the Evo Orb plus the Guardian Sun plus the Aegis, or you have to have like 2 really good cards in your hand to go after the Aegis.
Mhm.
Because you have to give the Aegis Ward and Evo on the same turn against something like Sword.
Yeah, swords for sure.
Because
You
you
have to set it up. A lot of times you end up playing Aegis on 9 just to give it ward, discard 3 Evo, and then like usually afterwards, I think you've make this play. You've talked about this play a lot. Is like you either have a PTP in hand or like a Kagen PTP or like some combination of cards that are very powerful, like to
yeah
interact with the
yeah
board afterwards, or like the Aegis should just win you the game at that point. Because usually,
yeah
because you play a lot more towards mid game like pressure by playing Kaguya, in my opinion. So.
yeah with the beast calls and all that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I always feel like I wanted an Olivia because I feel like I have to have the Aegis to beat Sword, but I don't feel like I have to have the Aegis on 9 to beat Sword, right? I feel like I have, but whenever I play against Sword with a deck like this, I'm like, I have to Evo the Aegis. That is, regardless of what happens, that is my only win condition.
Yeah.
And the problem is in a deck like this, because there's no Olivia, if you go first, you just have to discard your entire hand. And sometimes that's the rough part, like you said.
Mhm.
Uh but other than that, yeah, I mean, this is the list. It's been doing well. Every time I played, it does well. It doesn't feel good. I can tell you that much. This deck does not feel that good to pilot. It's surprising to see so many people take this core and run with it, but it is. I mean, it wins. It's not bad.
Yeah, I agree because I think at the end of the day, during this meta ages, it's just such a powerful win condition that even though I would say like you don't necessarily feel good getting up to the ages, you're more worried about just getting there. I think that's why like a lot my experience early on with the full control aegis list, which I still think is a very powerful deck. Um, I was having a lot of success with it, and I know for a fact the games were all rough games, but I always felt like I was winning, even when I was like quote unquote losing. If you just looked at it from like a perspective, the from the peanut gallery, basically. Um, but yeah, I feel like all the Haven lists just feel like very rough. All you're doing is just like clawing your way to like turn 8, turn 9, turn 10, so you can win the game, basically.
Oh no, I meant more of Beast Call Aria sucks, and like
Yeah, well,
that's
but
like
yeah.
half of your. It's more of the Beast Call Aria makes the deck feel bad because you put it down, especially against Sword. You put this thing down, you get the bird. The
Yeah.
bird sucks. It's like a not good body, and to get a good body, you have to pay another 2. So it's 5 mana before you get the good body. But after 3, I know this is going to sound wild. There's not a whole lot going on, but after 3, paying 2 feels literally impossible. And so this Beast Call Aria is on your board. Then like maybe something else is on your board, and suddenly you can't play around Aurelia. You can't play around literally anything,
Mhm.
and you leave yourself open. It feels very awkward to play. Uh, and it's but like it does get there. It does get there.
Yeah.
So maybe I need to put my feelings aside. But
Yeah. Well, really quick, since we're on this, because I know I haven't cut this completely, but a lot of these lists that like got inspiration from the Texas list, they've all cut Themis. I personally, I think you should be running Themis in some counts. Not, you don't necessarily have to run it as a 3 of, but I think a lot of times Aegis and holding a Themis in hand is like really, really powerful. Uh, and then sometimes you just need to restabilize the board, and like Aegis is a lot better to play on 5 than Kaguya, right? Not Aegis, I'm sorry, Themis. Are you completely like you're like yeah, screw Themis, it's a crap card,
Kaguya is
or
not your 5 play. Your 5 play is Tribunal. I
oh
think the
yeah,
Tribunal does enough. I In all of the random test games, I have almost never faced a board where I thought, "Holy shit, I need a Themis," except for, and I ended up winning the game anyway. There's a really wide dragon board, but it came out on like 8, and I was able to get there with Kaguya alone, being able to clear like 3
3 things
bodies.
with the Evo, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, but I'm talking more about like literally turn 5, turn 6 or so.
yeah,
Uh,
turn 5 or 6, I feel like nothing has put up enough pressure that like a Jean or a Tribunal doesn't get like enough stuff off the board, because even Priest of the Cudgel, you're able to banish the 2/2 and trade into the floor. Like very few
mhm,
things are going to put up boards that you can't trade into throughout the mid game, to where like suddenly you need to like 4 for 1.
mhm.
Because you have a lot of 2 for 1s, you have a lot of like Jean clears up most things, and that's enough. So I've never felt like I needed the Themis.
All right, fair. I don't know. I like. I think right now my list I played is a 2 of.
It's
And
not that it's a bad card.
yeah,
It's just like when you cut it, you don't really. I never feel like, oh damn, if I had Themis right now, except for when Aurelia came down and was hexproof because the shitty Beast Call Aria was on my board. Then I thought, damn, I guess I need that. But it was more of like a, this Beast Call Aria is killing me because I can't get it off my board.
yeah,
That wasn't the fault of That wasn't actually me needing Themis. That was me needing this like other card off my
Understandable.
maybe out of my deck.
All right, I think we've kind of wrapped up for that deck. Oh, that's third already. What? Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
We're
Sorry,
going
fourth
fast.
place. Heck yeah,
Georgia.
Georgia. Let's go.
I'm a little biased here. I don't like that these people robbed my friend. However, congratulations to all three of you
Mm-hmm.
and the fourth. Uh, yeah, this one's
40 birthday.
wild.
This is very. This is okay.
No, look at that. Look at that. Look at the what was it?
2 of Banner, 1 of Lucifer. I think Lucifer in Sword is okay. It's not like
It's okay.
it's like I think you play Lucifer if you want an even better matchup into Sword, or not Sword, better matchup into Dragon, and I think it does help in Sword as well. Because once again, Sword has that issue where like it doesn't really have very strong ways to heal. Does it play the Evo? Yeah, it does, because you probably want the extra 4 damage.
One Unbridled Fury.
I think 1 of Unbridled
One
Fury, like,
Gunner Made.
dude, some people are built
One
different.
Execution.
Listen, some people are just built different.
One
Erd. Or at least Erd is searchable, all right?
Wait, okay. That is true. That is true.
Yeah, because Lucifer and
Apologies.
Erd, yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, Erd's not searchable. I was naming unsearchable cards, I thought.
Yeah.
But
Unbrought Fury as a 1 of is very weird. I think it's like the type of card where it's like you play it as a 3 of or you play it as 0. Like I saw some lists. I think one of the last sword lists we saw had a 2 of. I'm like, okay,
Two.
like okay, I can see it maybe. But
I understand the 2 thought process, but I have to just like, it's one of those things. What is it? Azul says if like the math says, like, even if it feels bad, but the math says that it's better, you just got to like play the numbers, and the math. I'm pretty sure the math's gonna tell you that 3 is the answer.
yeah.
Because yeah, like two, like especially one is like silver bolts, right? Like, I see this 1 of execution, I see the 1 of unbridled, and I'm just like, well, what is a silver bolt? And what we do see, and I will say this one's interesting, is thank God there is no Latham. I hate that card. God bless, he took it out. Instead, we have the Luminous Knight. Is that what her name is?
Yeah.
Yeah. +1 on play, +1 on death. Very aggressive card. I do like that. That's much better than a Latham.
So, this is personally if I was building Sword now and trying to bring it to an event, I think my 2 lineup would definitely be most likely 3 Luminous Knight and 3 Latham. I know you hate Latham. It's just those. I feel like those 2 cards give you the most value at 2, and you want to see a 2-drop on turn 2 in Sword as much as possible. Because like doing cool plays like develop Bellringer, they go to their turn. They don't play anything because they're afraid of your Bellringer Evo. You respond with Luminous Knight, give +1 to Bellringer, and start swinging with Bellringer, and now they have to answer Bellringer. That always feels powerful. And then the fact that this has 3 attack can basically trade into most things. And I think a lot of the times, it being at 1 health right now, since we don't see a lot of rune players and we don't see a lot of people abusing like what's that other card? Angelic Barrage, things that just like deal 1 damage to the whole board, or ways to split damage up. Having 1 health, having 2 health, and having 3 health is almost all the same thing at this point. For the most part, I don't want to say
2 and 3 is a little different, but
yeah, I could see that. Like 2 and 3 is a little bit different, but the fact that Surefire Bullet usually is played as a very heavy count in most decks, that still does 3 to a non-Evo, right? But I agree. Like
Surefire's been in one of the 9 decks we've looked at, I think.
Okay, but anyway, 1 and 2 are definitely like relatively the same amount of power. It doesn't matter. They still die to Angelic Snipe and stuff like that. No one's really playing Barrage. You shouldn't be seeing a lot of rune players, though Texas had a crazy amount of rune players. So it having 1 health it doesn't feel as big of the issue as normal, and it's more important that it has the 3 attack, I think, and the on play effect is still relatively good. But once again, this is like a thing too where it's like we have this 1 gun made Sarah Gunner, and like
well, I've heard
counts.
someone else say this. It's to help fill out the 2-drop because he's not playing Latham, which I do. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know you said Latham's good. I sleeved up some Lathams for testing, and I hate that card. I'm sorry, kid. I
No,
really do.
I understand you don't like it, But it's
But
really
like this,
weird. Like you said, like if that's the reason they're filling out the 2-drop range, why are they playing a 1 battlefield? Why don't they just play a second Maid Gunner or like any
it's
other 2-drop
true.
here to like fill out like have a better curve into two? That's my thought process at
I
least. You
I
know.
agree with you. There is some there's some like there's some rounding out. I think that like you took a list. I think that this person took a list and then you didn't want to cut a card, so they wanted 40, so they just kept trimming cards. And then if they're left with one, then so be it.
Yeah.
Because like that's like kind of how you get to this point.
Hmm.
There's like cards that should be three ofs that aren't. There's cards that should be two ofs that are one ofs. It just feels like you start cutting cards and you
Yeah.
don't really know what to cut, but you refuse to not play it.
Hmm.
Is kind of the way I look at some of the decisions. But
Yeah. This is
yeah,
another thing too. I think if you're gonna play Banner, Royal Banner, you either there's two. I think there's two reasons you play this card. Either you can play as a cheeky one of in your list if you really want to, because there's so much Leo hate that like just randomly playing a Banner at some point can win you the game. The second thing is if you're playing Pompous Princess, I think Banner is reasonable to be playing in counts of two or more in the list if you really wanted to and have a lower count of Leos because you're just going more low to the ground. People are not anticipating Banner, and the Banner sometimes will just get you there because either they waste their only removal on Banner, and then you develop Leo and they lose the game from Leo, or the Banner gets you there because it's such quick pressure they weren't anticipating that their hand now no longer trades favorably into your board.
I
What do
mean,
you think about that?
I think this. Why? I honestly think that Banner. I say if we sleeved it up in Pompous some. So I have experience even in the 15-1 drop deck. It feels very situational, like very very situational. You can't put it down. It's literally not a 4-drop. The thing is like an 8-drop.
Yeah.
Uh, unless you were like already winning the game, and then it's a
Mhm.
4-drop. And even when you're winning the game, I feel like other cards on 4 are often more impactful than it could have been, which is insane to say, but it because I feel like it doesn't even if you're winning so much that you can put it down on 4, I don't think that it reduces the clock for you to win over like any of the other plays that usually stabilize your hand better, like Advent Blader, which we do see it as a one of. By the way, we see Lucifer one of, Erd one of, Advent Blader one of, and there's only 2 main leader Evos in the Evo deck, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Look,
Not a fan. Too many like
I'm
silver bullets there.
I mean, ultimately best to one game. He did get there. He got there.
Mhm.
So it worked when it needed to, but I don't like it. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think that I would definitely figure out more of like what I'm going for. If I want Erd in my deck, I'm going to play 2 Erd, take out the executions. I think it's really hard for Sword to play around Leo, so I'd rather play 2 executions, no Erd.
Yeah.
Lucifer, I like Lucifer. I think that's a pretty cool card. I think that's a pretty cool tech.
Yeah.
I don't know what it does. 4 face damage for 8? I don't know.
It's kind of the thing again when Sword doesn't have a lot of like good ways to heal later in the game against like burn or discard dragon and stuff. Like just having the extra 4 heal sometimes gets you an extra 1 to 2 turns. If
It's
it
not some
does,
insane demonic strike.
yeah.
It's not some searchable 7
Yeah.
mana demonic strike. Are you sure it's not that?
It might be. In some cases, obviously they play the Evo, so there's definitely some cases where like either it lives turn, they Evo and get to do 12 damage, or they just Evo deal 4 and they won the game because they get them down that low because maybe they hit Banner early off of like a wide board that didn't get answered immediately.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Sorry to ramble on about Sword for some.
yeah,
Hey, best leader though.
true. All right. Second place here, we got another discard dragon list here. This one is playing Dragoon, which let me
That
see.
card is insane. It's a good card.
Dragoon.
It's a good card.
Yeah, I think Dragoon's really good. I think Personally, okay, so when I was testing Dragoon, I actually liked playing like some number of PTP in my list because it made Dragoon turns insane sometimes, and having like a PTP occasionally can like fix a lot of the issues you would have if you drew poorly early as discard dragon. That's just my
I
opinion
think
from playing it.
I think I'm gonna leak. I never saw Connor's list, but Connor said he was on 2 Dragoon,
Hmm.
and I was like, yeah, I respect that. I respect 2 Dragoon.
Yeah, my list was two Dragoon for a while too, and then I tried one Dragoon, one Genesis Dragon, and I was like, well, Genesis Dragon I only ever want to see one of, and then I think by the end I went back to Double Dragoon, and that was the list I was heavy considering to play in Texas also, but yeah, things don't work out that way.
Oh, we
Um,
see the shape shifting mage with 2 evos coming back. I think that's good. I am a huge fan of shape shifting mage. I don't know why. I understand there's like a space thing with him, but man, that's a good card. That's a really good card.
this card is really good in Disco Dragon because it lets you go wide on some turns like you normally couldn't go wide because it only costs two, and which I think is like the beneficial part. And also, it this is like a way to out in the Abyss matchup. You can out Soul Dealer and like other random things that you don't want to see. If you're playing against Sword, this also outs what's her name? Aurelia, is that her name? I forget. The 5 drop
Aurelia.
Aurelia, yeah, the 5 drop. This outs it as well. If they get a pop off and get like the aura and all that stuff, this is like a really good out to it as well. Um, Shapeshifting Mage, yeah, depending on like your meta, I think is either like really, really amazing as a 3 of in the deck, or I could see it being not even in the list at all. But I think that just comes down to personal preference and what you anticipate the meta to be. I
I
think
can't
outside.
believe.
Go ahead.
Oh, I cannot believe that cantripping removal was put to a one of.
Oh,
Serpent's
this,
Wrath
yeah.
to me is the Blazing Breath dealing 4 already blows my mind, but removal that cantrips,
Mhm.
good removal that cantrips, that's like insane to me.
Yeah, I think what happened here was they just decided that Surefire Bullet was going to be better than this, which in my opinion is kind of weird. I think I would max out Serpent's Wrath before Surefire because like Serpent's Wrath answers everything Surefire does, just for one more mana, and like for one more mana, or what I say mana play point. After you're in
Say
overflow,
what will.
this
Just say
is
stock.
yeah,
Just say
yeah.
stock for one more
You're at,
stock.
from stock, yeah. We're playing Weiss now, so for one more stock, you can get a draw and still do five. Like, um, yeah, it's interesting they went with like this removal package, whereas like I could literally see this as a one of and this is a three of, or even like a 2-2 split would be more reasonable in my opinion. So I think the draw you get off of Serpent's Wrath is just really big whenever you're allowed to get the draw. Um, but
Makes
yeah,
like a
I think
rune sticker.
yeah. Outside of this, like the list looks super standard. I think this is pretty reasonable. I think a lot of lists usually play three con flag, but this one's only going for one. And
It's
then
fine even
they
for that. The shape
and
shifting
then
mage.
yeah, and then this here is like usually I feel like you either play two Genesis Dragon or you play two Dragoon. Personally, I like doing double Dragoon if you're gonna play Dragoon at all. Um, but outside of this, I think yeah, everything else looks pretty good, right? I
Yeah.
think this is a nice clean list. Third place, ooh, surprising, a Rune player after talking so
This
much of like
was
not seeing Rune.
this was what my friend beat to get into top 8. He managed to beat this and
And
then
then
die.
damn, unfortunate. I don't play this build too much. From what I've seen played and talked to players that play this list, like you can correct me if I'm
I
wrong,
have.
Dean. It feels like this is the type of list where you have to high roll a lot of your games to like win, unless you're playing against people who just don't know how this deck wins games. I feel like the only time I ever see this deck do well is like it gets like the perfect 1, 2, 3, 4 curve, and then like and your opponent just like can't handle it. What do you think?
It's a little bit better than that, but it definitely has like choke points where it dies, which is, I mean, not that where it dies. It has points in the game. I mean, it's like all the other decks, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's good for about 8 turns, and then after 8 turns, it's not very good, which is why I'm not the biggest fan of Merlin. Now, what I'll say though, is compared to other Merlin packages that I've seen, we see 2 snipes. I think that's right. It's easier to hold one man than it is two, so we cut down on a fire chain. versus because some people play like 3 fire chain, 1 snipe or something, and it's
Yeah.
I like the 2-2 split more. When I was on triple fire chain, it was bricking my hand, and you need to be making like impactful board plays. Like you need to like turn 1, put down an Earth Sigil, turn 2, crafty Warlock, or the thing that summons the Golem. Turn 3, you need to promote something that's dangerous in some way, whether that be the I don't know what is it, Runic Guardian or the Ancient Alchemist in a matchup where you can do so.
Mhm.
You need that board pressure because ultimately at the end of the game, your reach is like an extra 6 to like 9 damage. Nice numbers, right? But it is what
Mhm.
it is. Like you deal packets of 3, and so you need to get them low enough to where that's actually going to kill them. So you have to be able to apply pressure early as much as you can.
Yeah.
Pascal kind of helps with that. I've seen it happen. It really does require the Runic Guardian to be like truly insane. Uh, but we see like a little bit cleaner of a list. We still got the Merlin in here, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but with the Demonic Strike, you know, the combo does do damage. It does a 6.
Mhm.
But I don't think it's as impactful to put down like because right if what I like more about like the Ancient Alchemist and like going a lot heavier into that and like a more just like heavy draw what you need package
Yeah.
is Ancient Alchemist on 3 is an actual threat. Merlin on 3 is a horrible tempo play.
Yeah.
In my mind, because like Merlin, you search a card, it dies, it's got 2 health. I mean, it's gonna die. It's not gonna do anything. And Merlin on 5, probably want to be trying to do something else, but I guess there's not a whole lot to do. You got a 1 of Junos, probably not gonna be putting that on board. 3 Erasmus, I do like him. He's answers a Shenlong, tap him, answer something else, maybe another Shenlong, push 4 face damage.
8 health too is still like relatively big, but also in a meta, I think where people are playing executions and counts of like 2 or more usually. Probably
Oh
doesn't
no,
stick
because
around
they
as
have to
often.
execute other stuff. I mean, you got Ancient
Yeah,
Alchemist, you
yeah,
got Pascal
true.
on the board. Like, there's other stuff they got to answer that's not that. And
Hmm.
then suddenly you drop the 8 health. The only problem, and maybe I would love to see if he comments on this video. It's pretty deep in, but
Yeah.
the I don't see a ton of. I mean, there's enough stack generators, but without the Junos, right? Like your stack could be pretty low by this point.
Hmm.
And I'm wondering if you just don't tap the Erasmus. If it's just like it comes down, it kills the Shenlong, and you say good because we no longer have that meta. Set 1 meta, Dragon was putting up Fafnirs and like all these other disgusting things. You always had to tap him, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if you just drop him now, and that's good enough. And then 8, I can tell you from like when I was playing D shift with Golem.
Hmm.
6 is hard to answer. 8, unkillable, literally unkillable. This guy is unstoppable,
Yeah.
and you probably just drop him down, and he probably just lives most matchups
Yeah, for sure. I can see
without
that.
being tapped.
Yep. It's very hard to deal with it for sure. All right, I think that kind of wraps up the regionals that happened over this weekend. And I did check earlier, I forgot to mention it, but Mexico is this coming weekend, so I'm sure we'll talk about Mexico next week and go on to that and talk about going to California regional and stuff like that.
Those are the last 2 metas.
Yeah. All right.
That was a long one.
Yeah, dude. This
Oh, it's gonna be
every
a fast
dude.
one. Oh, here's
Every
12
time,
deck profiles, 9 deck profiles.
every time I say like we don't have crap to talk about, there's like one event and that's all we have to talk about. We end up rambling and talking about like the most stupid stuff for so long, and like these always turn into an hour long. But it's that time. It's everyone's favorite segment. It's guess that flavor text. 100% original, created here. Definitely did not take this from the Uncommon Energy podcast. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
And it just shows up in my feed now, and I listen to it occasionally, even though I don't play Pokemon heavily. So, Dean, you
Told
want
you.
to explain the rules while I make sure I got the right card I want to?
Okay. Yeah. So me and Kit take turns asking each other the flavor text of a Shadowverse card. We just have to guess it. It's that simple. There's a score. I think nobody knows it. It was like almost never updated.
Yeah,
So
I think you're 4 and I'm 3 now, right?
that sounds.
You're ahead of me. I don't know by how many points. I mean, I think we figured it out last week. I can just
I
always go
think it
back
was
later.
4. I think it was 4 and 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, you start off at 4 points, and then you have 3 lifelines. Each lifeline costs 1 point. The lifelines are what set in digital it is, what class it is in digital or physical. Which one? on that class is physical, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the physical class, and then what type of card it is: amulet, spell, or follower. So,
Mhm.
yeah, do you have the card?
I have the card. Let's see if you can get this one. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. You have
All
no
right.
idea.
Brothers and sisters, let Steel and Blade do the talking today. The front lines belong to us.
Oathless Knight. I don't even need a lifeline.
Jesus Christ. Is that your final answer?
That is.
All right. I hate you, Dean. You
In
got it.
digital, he goes, "To arms, brother," and then like, "Brah, at your service."
It just sounds
Yeah.
so generic to me that
Oh no.
yeah, yeah.
That
I
sounds
thought
because,
I thought like this is such a generic sword card, and there's no way he's gonna think of this. Oh
but
my
it's like
god, that was
it's
so
the
that was
generic. It is
snap
the.
too. Oh my god.
You're saying that, and I just instantly think that card was played. Okay, that card was played. He's
Yeah.
got the voice line. You got to understand.
Understandable, understandable. Dang. Oh my god. Okay. Dude. Oh man, I'm gonna fall so far behind now. This is bullshit.
Oh no, dude!
Oh
You gotta
man.
play. You gotta start playing in. I guess if you're playing
Dude,
Japanese, I
I
mean,
know I'm
you're
about to
fluent in
I'm gonna
Japanese.
listen, I'm gonna break out flashcards. I'm gonna
The
make
Switch game. You bust out the Switch game and just
Oh,
play.
true. I actually never played the Switch game. I heard it was actually pretty good.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I should actually buy it because I haven't been playing my Switch much. But yeah, Dean screwed
That's
up this.
insane. That's
I hate
insane.
this. Dean's garbage. I hope I hope
Oh,
you get coal for Christmas now.
oh, I just heard brothers. I actually, you want to know what? You know what actually almost threw me off was hearing the word sisters.
Oh yeah,
I because yeah, he comes down, he says to arms brothers, but I'm thinking like if it's not that, I don't know what it is. Like I'm gonna hear swordcraft, I'm gonna hear follower, and there's no shot like I'm gonna go anywhere else.
yeah. Oh crap. But yeah. Dean, you suck. Just want to say that one more time.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I don't blame you.
The Shadowverse Tanoshi.
All right, I think that's most of our major stuff we need to talk about. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we go? I guess I don't know if we had anything else on the menu.
No, just that was it. You know, we had some fun. We had some fun today, and I think we're gonna have some fun tomorrow when we get to see some games.
Oh yeah, for sure. I can't wait to see what shows up. I'm sure it's not going to be too big, but it's going to be. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have a lot of fun casting it for sure. At least I will. I'll post the stream up and stuff in the community Discord and things like that. And tomorrow, you guys will. I'm sorry in advance. Everyone that gets hit with the @everyone notification tomorrow in our Discord. Yeah, look forward to that. Sign up if you have the time to play webcam. I think if this actually grows and we get a good amount of players consistently, what I'll do is I'll try talking to the people I know from Boucher Road. Maybe we can get some like fun like prize support and like I can mail you out like PR packs or something, right? Um, Other than that, I mean, if for some reason some online store wants to like do some promotions, hit us up. You can contact us through Discord or there is an email address as well in the more information section below on YouTube as always. But yeah, I think that is it. Nothing else, right, Dean?
No, that's it.
All right. Until I guess next week, we'll be back to talk about the Last Chance qualifiers happening in Mexico. Very
And the
interested to
Uma
see.
meta.
Ooh, the Uma meta stuff as well. Uma comes out this Friday. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've been brewing and playtesting. I got to say already, Uma as a deck is pretty disgusting. It definitely isn't as disgusting as it was in Japan, that's for sure, but it's still disgusting. So I'm excited to see how the English meta develops because, our meta now is going to be completely different than Japan for this, at least this time frame, due to the nerfs. Or I guess restriction lists. Other than that, guys, we'll see you next week. Later, everyone.
See ya.